taskmaster. Look, we're all here because we feel deeply about and we're concerned about the future of this country. This is an incredibly, incredibly important election. You know, there's this sort of rhetoric out there that we're hearing that at a time when we should all be working together, at a time when there are enormous challenges out there, we see them whether you live in the south suburbs, whether you live in central Illinois, whether you live in Chicago. Our friends, our family members have been decimated by this recession. Folks are losing their homes at rates we couldn't have imagined. Every 8 seconds in this country, someone loses their home in foreclosure. We just found out that 51 million Americans don't have health care. 51 million Americans. 17% of Americans live in poverty. 1 in 8 Americans are on food stamps. Right now, in the richest country in the world, 1 in 4 American children are on food stamps. We've got an unemployment rate of over 10%, a figure which unfortunately is incredibly misleading. It doesn't take into consideration folks who are working part-time, who are taking furlough days, who have become so discouraged and not even looking for work. We are at a seminal moment in this nation's history, where the decisions we make in Washington, D.C. over these next few years, I believe, will determine the course this country takes for generations. We need leaders who start talking about the next generation. Where do we want this country to be in 2040? Where do we want this country to be in 2050? Where do we want this country to be in 100 years? So, as a nation in a crossroads, we have a choice. And elections are about choices. We can go back to the failed, reckless, greedy economic policies that have brought this country to its knees, or we can move this country forward, or we can work together to reinvest in our middle class, to create jobs, to invest in early childhood education, infrastructure, manufacturing, create jobs, fix an education system which unfortunately is broken for too many of our best and brightest. Remember the human rights and dignity that have always made this the greatest country in the world, a beacon for every other country in the world to emulate. We can create jobs, make people feel good again about the future of the United States. Or we can engage in the fear-mongering and hateful tactics on the other side, who have somehow found a way to blame everything on our president. The way you hear it, it's as if he got sworn in, took his hand off that Bible, and all of a sudden, we had record deficits. All of a sudden, we're losing millions of jobs. It's our job, though, to remind people of the truth. And if you look at my race against Congressman Mark Kirk, someone who goes out there and says he's a fiscal conservative, you need to remind your friends that he voted for every single one of the George Bush budgets. Every single one that took us, when Bill Clinton handed George Bush record surpluses. Record surpluses. He said, here's some record surpluses for you. You're actually making money every year. In 8 years, we went from record budget surpluses to record budget deficits. More was added to the national debt during those 8 years. More was added to the national debt during those 8 years than all the administrations in the history of the United States combined. That's George Washington to Bill Clinton. So now you have Mark Kirk saying, well, Barack Obama was responsible for the deficit. No, he's not. He came in and helped avoid a Great Depression Part 2. So the question is, are we going to stand up to those who are not telling the truth? Are we going to stand up to those who are trying to mislead and scare others into making false decisions? Or are we going to stand up, step up, and lead together and remind people of what has always made this country great, working together? I'm going to say one last thing about the president, and I know we got some canvassing to do. The other part that really is frightening and disgusting that you hear from the other side, you know, they got this phrase. They say, we need to take our country back. Right? The Sarah Palins, the Glenn Becks of the world, the Mark Kirks of the world, say, we need to take our country back. Think about that. This is not a phrase, by the way, that you ever heard before Barack Obama became president. I thought that we were all in this together. That we all share a responsibility of fighting for middle-class families, fighting for basic opportunities, to make sure that people can achieve the American dream. The American dream that says, if you're willing to work hard and struggle and sacrifice, if you're willing to work hard, you can pay your bills. And you know what? Your kids, your grandkids, and the next generation can have more opportunities than we ever had together. That's the promise of America. But that promise is under assault because of the devastating decisions that took place over the last decade. Think about that phrase, we need to take our country back. First of all, in addition to being offensive, it's just stupid. Think about it though. Who are the we they're talking about? Take it back from who and how far back do you want to go? This is not about going back. This is about moving this country forward. You know what? We need your help to do this. This is an incredibly important election. Let me tell you, people around the country, people around the world are looking to see what happens for this Senate seat that was held by Barack Obama. Mitch McConnell, the Republicans were in here a couple of weeks ago. He's come back next week. They say this is a referendum on the White House, a referendum on the way people feel about the Democratic Party. No, it's not. This is a race that's bigger than me. This is a race that's bigger than Barack Obama. This is a race about the future of the United States. So I'm here to ask for your help again. You have been there for me a number of times. You have fought for Robin Kelly. We need your help. When you see the Glenn Becks and the Sarah Palins and all this hateful, spiteful language, let's remember what brings us together. Hope, opportunity, compassion, fighting for people who can't fight for themselves. If we're going to move this country forward, we need all of you in the next 45 days or so to knock on every door, to tell all your friends, to send out emails, to go to war for the future of this country the way you did for President Barack Obama. And if we do that, if we work hard, if we bust our asses together, not only are we going to win on November 2nd, not only will we be a part of a very special election, but we can look back and say that at a time when our nation called on us to stand up, that's exactly what we did. We stood up together. We led, we got energized, we got engaged, and we moved this great country forward. So let's get out there, let's work hard, let's be proud of our work, and let's tell the people the truth about what took place, what's taking place, and if we do things right, what will happen to this great country. Thank you very much. God bless you all.